wadr.org. WADR, promoting dialogue.
It's midday in Dakar, 1 o'clock in Lagos. Good afternoon, and many thanks for staying tuned to West Africa Democracy Radio, broadcasting on 94.9 FM and around the world on wadr.org. Welcome to Newslink. Here are the top stories. Nigerian army neutralizes over 60 bandits in Zamfara state. 1-month-old infant dies of alleged female genital mutilation in the Gambia despite government ban on FGM.
It's a murder case, so we expect that the law handles it as a murder case.
You know, the reason why this is still happening is because we have people at the grassroots level who are trying to empower it. This involves some of our traditional leaders.
In Cote d'Ivoire, position PPACI officials in custody on charges of terrorism and conspiracy against the state. And Ghanaian government orders religious leaders to relay prophecies of national significance before making them public.
It's a call for collaboration so that we avoid situations where people are traumatized, people are distraught, families are distraught, and then somebody says, oh, this is just the beginning.
Please stay tuned for details of these stories and more.
Here is Imo Edit with Newslink.
Many thanks for joining our broadcast. Let's begin this afternoon in the Gambia, where investigation by the police is ongoing into the death of a 1-month-old baby girl, reportedly linked to female genital mutilation, FGM. Preliminary findings suggest the infant was subjected to circumcision and subsequently suffered severe bleeding. She was rushed to the Bundung Maternal and Child Health Hospital in Bundung, west of the country, where she was pronounced dead on arrival. Sankli Danko has more details in this report.
2 women allegedly involved in the case are currently in police custody as investigations continue. Meanwhile, body of the 1-month-old infant is at the RVTH mortuary for further examination. Activists opposed to female genital mutilation, FGM, directly attribute this death to a practice that remains widespread in the Gambia, despite its official ban since 2015. Mbasi Mane, a women's rights activist, is among the prominent voices advocating against FGM.
You know, the reason why this is still happening is because we have people at the grassroots level who are trying to empower it. This involves some of our traditional leaders who think that FGM is a good practice that should be, met out on girls.
Since its criminalization by the Gambia National Assembly, only 2 cases of FGM have so far been prosecuted. This latest incident has sparked renewed calls from activists urging the Gambian police to treat the crime as a murder case. Elizabeth Kinta Gomez, president of the Pan-African Female Youth Leaders, is one of those voicing concerns.
It's a murder case, so we expect that the law handles it as a murder case. It is FGM, but it has resulted to murder.
In December 2015, the Women's Amendment Bill was adopted by the Gambia National Assembly to prohibit female circumcision. Section 32A of the Act makes it an offense for any person to engage in female circumcision. Those who violate this law face a penalty of up to 3 years in prison or a fine of $50,000, approximately $1,250 or both. The act also stipulates a life sentence in prison if the circumcision results in death.
Sankli Danko filed that report. We cross over to northwest Nigeria, where the Nigerian military says it has uncovered more than 60 bodies of suspected armed bandits following a deadly airstrike in Zamfara state. The discovery comes amid intensified counter-terrorism operations in the central Sahel and neighboring regions, where armed groups continue to threaten rural communities. From Abuja, Usmanuma reports.
Troops of Operation Fansanyema moved into the rural community of Matsiri in Zamfara's Anka local government area on Monday, guided by aerial surveillance from the Nigerian Air Force. What they found was the aftermath of a fire assault. More than 60 corpses scattered across the strike zone, many burnt beyond recognition. The military also recovered over 30 destroyed motorcycles and a cache of weapons reduced to twisted metal in the flames. The offensive was not random. Intelligence had tracked a gathering of more than 400 armed fighters, including several notorious commanders in Makakari Forest, straddling Anka and Bukuyum districts. Security sources say the group was plotting an attack on the nearby Nasarawan Burkulu community. A series of precision airstrikes on Sunday shattered that plan, paving the way for the ground troops to move in and mop up. By the end of the operation, over 100 fighters had been neutralized, and the bandits' ability to launch retaliatory attacks had been severely weakened. In a region where rural fear often matched only by the impunity of armed groups, security officials say the message is clear. Their networks will be dismantled one step at a time. The military maintains that troops remain on the ground, patrolling and clearing nearby areas to prevent any regrouping. This strike in Zamfara mirrors a broader regional push against armed violence from jihadist insurgents in the Sahel to cross-border criminal gangs along the Gulf of Guinea corridor, underscoring West Africa's complex and interconnected security challenges. For Newslink on West Africa Democracy Radio, Osman Omar reporting from Abuja.
In Benin, the National Autonomous Electoral Commission Center has unveiled the electoral calendar for the 2026 general elections. According to the calendar, the electoral roll will be posted from October 15 to 29, 2025 for voters to verify all information concerning them before the elections. Presidential candidates will have already begun registering, while the dates for submission of applications are set from October 10 to 14, 2025. The electoral calendar indicates that the provisional list of candidates will be published on October 26, 2025, and the final list on October 31, 2025. Meanwhile, the first round of the presidential election is scheduled for April 12, 2026, with results to be announced 2 days later on April 14, 2026. In the event of a second round, such election shall be held on May 10, 2026, and the result will be announced 2 days later on May 12, 2026.
More stories coming up on West Africa Democracy Radio. Newslink continues.
Let's take you now to Côte d'Ivoire, where two officials of the opposition PPACI who were arrested a few days ago have been remanded in custody. They face charges including terrorism and conspiracy against state authority. According to judicial authorities, the two are allegedly linked to the violence that occurred on August 1, 2025 in the Yopougon commune of Abidjan. Political tensions continue to heighten in Côte d'Ivoire ahead of the October 25 presidential election. Augustin Koli completes the story.
In a statement released on Monday, the public prosecutor stated that during hearings for the 9 individuals arrested in connection with the August 1 violence in the Yopougon commune, the suspects identified two PPACR officials as the instigators of the unrest. The suspects confessed to setting fire to a bus belonging to an Abidjan transport company, damaging a police vehicle and assaulting its occupants. They were also accused of setting fire on gas stations, including the headquarters of the Electoral Commission in Yopougon and the Yopougon City Hall. According to the prosecutor, the objective of these acts was to intimidate the population following the announcement of President Alassane Ouattara's candidacy for the upcoming presidential election in October. Leader Kwasi Mosi, a former Minister of Defense, and Kone Boubacar, a retired ambassador, both officials of the PPACR, were referred to the anti-terrorism section of the Abidjan court on Monday and placed in custody. A judicial investigation has been opened against them. The charges include terrorist acts, conspiracy against state authority, participation in an insurrectional movement, and destruction and arson of property. Meanwhile, the opposition PPACR calls for their unconditional release. The party of former President Laurent Gbagbo denounces the wave of arrests targeting its members, describing it as an attempt to silence political opposition.
Augustin Koli filed a report. Meanwhile, Sierra Leonean President Julius Maada Bio, who also serves as the current chairman of ECOWAS Authorities of Heads of States, concluded a 24-hour visit to Cote d'Ivoire on Monday. Following earlier stops in Togo and Ghana, President Bio was received in Abidjan by his Ivorian counterpart Alassane Ouattara. The two leaders held discussions on the political situation in the West African region, including the AES member states, namely Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger. Details with Christopher Aticho.
Upon his arrival in Abidjan, Sierra Leonean President Julius Maada Bio headed to the presidential palace, where he was warmly welcomed by his Ivorian counterpart Alassane Ouattara. This visit marks another occasion where President Ouattara received Julius Maada Bio in Abidjan. The discussions during the visit centered on the future of ECOWAS, especially with less than 2 months remaining for the official departure of the AES countries from the organization. In remarks, President Ouattara says,
we have reviewed the challenges that we face. As president of ECOWAS, the president is visiting the member states to receive the advice and recommendations of the heads of state before going to the countries of the alliance states of the Sahel. They can count on our support for the important task that has been entrusted to them.
The two leaders also explored the future relationship between ECOWAS and the AES. President Maada Bio has consistently advocated for an amicable separation from the AES, while also emphasizing the importance of mediating efforts to facilitate their potential return to the organization in the future. Additionally, they discussed the consolidation of ECOWAS's achievements, economic integration, and the monetary and security challenges facing the region. The reactivation of activities within the Mano River Union was also a topic of discussion.
That was a report from WDR's correspondent in Abidjan, Marcel Lariston Blair, and voiced by Christopher Aticho. Meanwhile, the Burkinabe court has handed down heavy sentences to 6 people involved in the deadly March 2, 2018 attacks in Ouagadougou, the capital. The assault, which targeted the General Staff of the Armed Forces and the French Embassy, left 16 people dead, including 8 of the attackers. Authority identified Ayuri al-Bata, leader of the Al-Mouribatoun Katiba, as operations coordinator. He reportedly entered Burkina Faso in February 2028, met with 15 members of the commando group, and oversaw preparations for the attacks. Claimed by the Group for the Support of Islam and Muslims, or JNRM, the attacks were described by the group as retaliation for the death of Al-Mouribatoun Commander Hassan al-Ansari and several of his lieutenants in Mali just weeks earlier. The anti-terrorism prosecution says it has appealed several verdicts, especially in cases where defendants were acquitted, and noted that those accused of terrorism remain in custody until all appeals are resolved. In Cape Verde, nearly a dozen people have been confirmed dead after devastating floods hit the island of São Vicente over the weekend. Heavy rains triggered the disaster, leaving several others missing. The government has declared a state of natural disaster and announced 2 days of national mourning. You're listening to Newslink on West Africa Democracy Radio 94.9 FM Dakar and WADR.org. Here's a reminder of our top stories. Nigerian army neutralizes over 60 bandits in Zamfara state. 1-month-old infant dies of alleged female genital mutilation in the Gambia despite government ban on FGM. In Cote d'Ivoire, opposition PPACI officials in custody on charges of terrorism and conspiracy against the state. Still ahead in the news, Ghanaian government orders religious leaders to relay prophecies of national significance before making them public. We do have the press review, a guest interview, and sport updates. Please stay with us.
West Africa Democracy Radio. It's you speaking.
Don't forget, we are streaming live on WADR.org, YouTube, and Facebook. We head now to Liberia, where a state-run university instructor is facing charges of armed robbery and attempted murder. According to police investigations, the suspect, Phoebe Emery Johnson, was arrested last Wednesday during an attempted robbery at the EcoBank head office in Monrovia. The police report states that Johnson allegedly entered the bank's private storeroom, pulled out a single-barrel shotgun, and threatened to kill a bank employee while demanding money. WDR's Monrovia correspondent Ibrahim Parker completes the story.
A CCTV footage captured a bank employee named Angeline Sala engaging in a fist fight and subsequently activating an alarm, which led to her rescue by a colleague who restrained the suspect until police arrived. According to police spokesperson Cecilia Clark, suspect Johnson admitted to purchasing the firearm for $60 in Ganta, Nima County, claiming it was for personal protection.
At approximately 9:45 a.m., Suspect Johnson entered the private banking room of EcoBank, disguised with a nose mask. He closed the office door behind him, pulled a single-barreled shotgun from his black backpack. He demanded the money stored in the office and tussled with the victim for about 10 minutes and attempted to seal her mouth.
Suspect Phoebe Johnson now faces charges of armed robbery, attempted murder, and possession sale of illegal items under the revised penal code of Liberia. The police spokesperson further noted that the suspect has been forwarded to court.
These charges are in accordance with the revised penal code of the Republic of Liberia. Mr. Johnson will be forwarded to court immediately.
Meanwhile, the Citizens Action Committee, a civil engagement group in Liberia, is calling for further investigation into the alleged armed robbery case. The group's head, Philip Blambo, mentioned that various CCTV video clips show the suspect wearing different outfits compared to what he wore during his arrest. He asserted that the location of the video was in a private office and not a bank teller station where transactions typically occur. For Newslink on WADR, Abraham Parker, Monrovia.
In Ghana, the Office of the Presidential Envoy for Interfaith and Ecumenical Relations is urging religious leaders to formally relay prophecies or spiritual revelations of national significance to the government before making them public. Presidential Envoy Elvis Afri Ankra says the move is not to restrict prophetic freedom, but to ensure messages with potential security implications, especially those concerning top officials, are responsibly reviewed and managed. However, the move is drawing varied reactions from a cross-section of the public. Nadia Ditetina Accra reports.
Last week's tragic military helicopter crash that claimed 8 lives has prompted the Office of the Presidential Envoy for Interfaith and Ecumenical Relations to call on religious leaders to formally submit any prophecies or spiritual insights for national importance to the government before making them public. In the aftermath of the crash, numerous videos of prophets have flooded social media, with many claiming to have foreseen the calamity. In a letter signed by the Presidential Envoy Elvis Afri Ankra, urged that revelations with implications for high-profile political leaders, governors, national security, or public stability be channeled through his office for urgent review and possible escalation. However, the unprecedented request has drawn mixed reactions from the public, with some questioning how spiritual revelations fit into governance and national security.
Many of them are saying things where coming true. So it be like sometimes they don't take their things serious.
I wouldn't be in 100 support to that. The prophecy can be sent to the presidency, but do they believe in it?
Defending the decision, Ms. Afri Ankra said most prophecies circulating online lack direct communication with relevant officials, yet carry some serious security implications. He stressed that the Bible itself encourages testing and reviewing prophecies before acting on them.
It's a call for collaboration so that we avoid situations where people are traumatized, people are distraught, families are distraught, and then somebody says, oh, this is just the beginning. There are 4 more plane crashes. I think that is a bit worrying. And then you are talking about Air Force. These are matters of security. So it's not just any prophecy, bring it to us.
As the debate unfolds, the government insists the measure is aimed at safeguarding public stability while ensuring the prophetic voice remains a constructive force in national life. For WDR, Nadia Ditete, Accra.
Still in Ghana, the opposition New Patriotic Party NPP says it will not contest the upcoming Tamale Central by-election, citing the need to avoid political tension following the death of the constituency's MP, Dr. Murtala Mohammed, in the August 6 helicopter crash. The party says the decision taken at the National Steering Committee is meant to honor the late MP and other victims of the tragedy while promoting unity during the period of national mourning. Evans Nimako is the Director of Elections for the NPP.
Opinions may vary on this, but under the circumstance, and if you do assessment of the statement issued by the General Secretary, I think it communicates clear to the whole world. And mind you, the New Patriotic Party has strong following in the constituency. That notwithstanding, we will not want to hurt any interest, but to make the party take this position, which is heavy though, but we feel that to lose a member of parliament in this manner does not really provide us any opportunity to win the seat. But just to let the world know that, yes, democracy is contestation of ideas. Winning a seat is not an end in itself. But just for us to communicate to the world that this is New Patriotic Party. We may go in and win, but to what end? And so I think the decision of the party will put into consideration the concerns of the regional party in Northern Region, the concerns of the constituency party, as well as the bigger picture.
Director of Elections for the NPP, Evans Nimako.
This is the newspaper review. Stay abreast and find out what the top stories are in your country.
This is the newspaper review.
The newspaper review.
We now join Zankli Tanko for the newspaper review.
We begin with the Standard newspaper today, and the lead story on the Standard newspaper reads, ex-OIC CEO alleges executive interference led to his resignation. Still with the Standard newspaper, GDC accuses NPP of politics of manipulation. GDC is Gambia Democratic Congress, one of the opposition parties in the country, and it has accused the ruling National People's Party of politics of manipulation. Tumanjai condemns death of baby from FGM. Tumanjai is the National Assembly member for Banjul South, a strong advocate against female genital mutilation. Let's take a look at the Point newspaper. The lead story on the Point newspaper reads, cocaine, firearms and bail. DLEAG invites Paulo after foreign arrest. Paulo is a notorious drug kingpin in the Gambia who is currently undergoing trial in the country. UDP to protest over controversial ID card issuance abroad. Oldest United Democratic Party, that is UDP, is the leading opposition party, and according to this report, they will protest against the issuance of ID cards in abroad. Please confirm Kalaji Road accident kills 2 people. Dozens of soldiers detained in Mali amid alleged coup plot. And finally, on the Fourier newspaper, Brikama Area Council 200,000 truck procurement draws scrutiny before local government inquiry. And let's end today's newspaper review with death of an infant following an alleged female genital mutilation, FGM. And this one reads, Network Against Gender-Based Violence condemns infant death linked to FGM. Similarly, Children's National Assembly calls for justice as infant death linked to FGM.
And it's Anglo Janko with a newspaper review there.
Politics, analyses on major news, social matters, and all. This is A Guest.
In this segment, we take you back to a first story from the Gambia, where the police authorities investigating the death of a 1-month-old baby girl reportedly linked to female genital mutilation, FGM. Preliminary findings suggest that the infant was subjected to circumcision and subsequently suffered severe bleeding. Reactions have since begun pouring in over the incident, especially as the practice remained banned in the Gambia. Our guest is Gambian human rights activist Mbasi Mane.
First of all, when I saw it, I was like, this is disappointing that people are still doing this. They're doing this in secret, despite the fact that we have a law banning it. People are not respecting the law, and they are violating, the rights of young girls in the Gambia. And this is a crime. When the law said this is banned and it is not good, people shouldn't do it. I see no reason why they should involve a toddler. And it is rather unfortunate and very shocking that someone born within weeks had to encounter such a barbaric, act and eventually passed away. So the police are investigating to know the circumstances surrounding and how and who is involved, the circumstances, and so we are waiting to see how the court is going to go about it, whether it is going to be a manslaughter or it is. But I know it is a crime that has been committed, and the people who commit this crime should be held responsible.
Now that you talk about the government or the police says it is investigating the matter, how does this help to solve the problem? Do you believe that an investigation will put an end to this practice in the Gambia?
We hope so. If the law enforcers are doing their job as they're supposed to be, it should be able to end, and people should be very vigilant and understand. They should set an example, on the perpetrators. People who are involved in this whole mess should be held accountable. The reason why this is still happening is because we have people at the grassroots level who are trying to empower it. These involve some of our religious leaders, some of our traditional leaders who think that FGM is a good practice that should be, met out on girls. So as a result, some people don't fear, doing it. And if this girl did not die, maybe nobody will know that she has undergone FGM, the little baby. So now that this has happened, we are very vigilant as women rights activists. We are watching, we are waiting for their report and their reaction, and we will ensure that the people who do this crime are held responsible.
Now, finally, what would you say to women who are still carrying out these activities? And as a women rights activist, what would you say about women that are still carrying out this practice?
Yes, I've been saying it, and I will still say it, that FGM is a violation of human rights, especially on girls. And it is a crime in the Gambia. Whoever does it, will face consequences when it is known, because sometimes reporting these cases are very difficult at community level. People don't want to be stereotyped or stigmatized because they report certain individuals who are carrying it out. But when it is known like this one, you will be held liable for everything that you have done on the girls.
Masimani is a Gambian human rights activist. In sport news, in a tense Group A clash at Nyayo National Stadium, Zambia broke the deadlock in the 73rd minute through Dominic Chanda, giving the Chipulapula lifeline in the ongoing Chan tournament. But Angola's fortune changed when second half substitute Cabral took charge. He leveled the score in the 79th minute with a precise finish and struck again in the 86th to seal Angola's first victory of the competition. Elsewhere, Tanzania became the first team to book a quarter-final spot after beating Madagascar 2-1, while Mauritania bounced back with a 1-0 win over the Central African Republic. In today's clashes of Group D, Chan 2024 will see two decisive matches in Zanzibar. Defending champion Senegal will face Congo, aiming to secure a quarter-final spot, while Congo look to rebound from a draw with Sudan. Later, Sudan meets Nigeria in a must-win clash for both sides, as defeat would all but end their tournament hopes. In other sport, the men's Afro basketball tournament gets underway this Tuesday, running until the 24th, with 16 nations competing for the continental glory. Two-time defending champions Tunisia are chasing their third straight title, but face tough challenges from Senegal, Cote d'Ivoire, Angola, Nigeria, Cameroon, South Sudan, and Mali. Senegal, unbeaten in the qualifiers, opened their Group D campaign today in Luanda against Uganda, beaten before facing Egypt on August 14 and Mali on the 16th. The group stage runs until August 15 with knockout rounds to follow. And that's it on this edition of Newslink on West Africa Democracy Radio, broadcasting from Dakar, Senegal. Thank you for listening, and many thanks to Mustafa Sek and Umudani for the technical support. Do connect with us on all of our social media platforms, X, Instagram, TikTok, at WDR English. I am Imo Edet. Good afternoon.
And many thanks to you for listening to Newslink via Hot 104.3 FM, Newmi FM 94.0,
Hilltop Radio 104.7 FM,
and Veritas Radio 102.9 in Banjul, the Gambia. We also appreciate our listeners in Liberia via Alternative Youth Radio 98.9 FM, Lofa County,
Radio Kaigama 94.5 FM, Niba County, DCN Radio 91.3 FM, Riverside County, Wakat FM Radio, Banga, Liberia, Radio Baf FM 91.3 Sierra Leone.
For you listening via Radio Pad 95.1 Damango, Savannah region, and on Royals FM 104.7 Wenchi, Ghana, we say a big thank you. Remember, West Africa Democracy Radio is all about you, your views, and your opinions.